Hello everyone, it's me again. I bought a little handheld camera holder. This little gizmo apparently keeps things stable when you're recording. Um, Got to make sure that my camera angles are not so jittery, and there's a little bit of a bandsaw action going on downstairs. I'm in downtown San Francisco in the financial district right now. And then also, I'm going to see if I can mount this in the dashboard of my car. I mean, it's not legal to drive and video yourself, apparently, and it's probably not safe either. So we'll see how this works out. Hopefully, my videos are a little more stable going forward. We'll find out. This is Daniel, and I'm going electric. Just got out of my building here, so I've got my mask on. Um, Gonna go. I'm in reverse. Okay. Gonna go have dinner with a friend and her kids. Um, I have to laugh because this is my godson and my goddaughter, and my godson is super excited about the fact that I'm buying a Tesla. Like, he has been telling everybody that I'm super rich. I have to laugh. I'm like, little dude, I have a giant student loan still after all these years, and so no on that one. And then, oops, going backwards here. I got my little handheld dash camera jobby. Um, and also, I've been saving for a car for 27 years, which is my MO. So no, not rich, but glad I have this car. So I'm going to go for a drive. I'm going to meet up with them. I want to see how this camera works in the car here. I'm supposed to be able to put it on focus on me. How does this work? Where I just press wait while shooting complete. Tap on me. Okay, it should follow my face here. We'll see. All right, may edit that out. So I'm heading down. Hopefully this thing doesn't fly off the dashboard. May need to get some weights for it. We'll probably scuff up the white fun a little bit, but we'll see. Um, yeah, so what to talk about? So I've taken a couple of friends out in the car. Oh, this camera's going to slide, I bet, going down the circular bit of the garage. I've taken a couple friends out in the car, and um, yesterday I took a friend of mine out for a drive south of San Francisco, and I've been testing autopilot. And so I have a couple thoughts on autopilot. I think I mentioned in my previous video that come on, I got Tesla busted because I was trying to do a lane change, and the lane was ending, and I was having the car decide what it was going to do, and then the lane change was required, and the lane ended, and I didn't take control of the wheel when it was on autopilot, and then it sort of grounded me from being able to use autopilot for the rest of the ride. That was kind of sad. But last night I was driving out with a friend. Which way should I go? To her house. I think I know which way I'll go. Was out last night and we did autopilot again. And the scenario I did is that we were driving down the highway and we were going, I don't know, probably 65 or something. And it's lane keeping, everything's going really well. I'd still wait. I'm going to talk a little bit about if autopilot even makes sense. Like, why would you even use it? I'm not sure. I'm still trying to go through that scenario, but assuming you do want to use it. So we're driving up down the 280 and going 65, and then I decide to gun it and see what happens. And I had my hands on the wheel, and then I took my hands off the wheel because it turns out you have to basically drive 10 and 2 and put weight on the wheel. Otherwise, it thinks your hands aren't on. So you have to drive in that position. So I had my hands down below, fingers still touching the back of the wheel, but I don't think that counts in the Tesla world. And I gun it, and I go up to about 85, probably 87, and all of a sudden, red lights on the dash on that display, take control, which I did. But then I got Tesla grounded again. I was so sad. And I was like, man, if Tesla is tracking this stuff, they're probably going to be like, either this happens with everybody who's brand new with the Tesla and eventually they get over it, or they're going to be like, dude, learn how to drive. And I think I actually know how to drive pretty well. I'm pretty confident in my driving abilities. I'm just looking at the view that I've got. This car is really beautiful, I have to say. Isn't that gorgeous? White interior, roof. Oh, that's down. Let's go up. I'm at a stoplight here. Roof. I mean, come on, it's spectacular. It's a beautiful car. I'm really happy with it. So yeah, I got Tesla busted last night. Um, I don't know. Do you ever get permanently put in the doghouse for bad driving by Tesla? I hope to not find out, but I do have to do some of these edge case scenarios. Um, because I'm curious, like, does the car really drive itself? Why would you want it to drive itself? In what cases should it not drive itself? These are all things that we got to know. The world wants to know. Autopilot's not cheap, and then full self-driving is certainly not cheap. And why would someone want this? So that's what I'm going to try to figure out. Why would the average person want this technology, and how can they benefit from it? So I'm going to go up Market Street here. There's a bicyclist on the right, and traffic aware. The little image that shows my car with all the traffic around me shows the little dude on the bike, which is kind of fun. Um, so a couple other thoughts about. Oh, do I have to turn right here? I hope not. Am I in a bike lane? I hope not. A couple other thoughts about Tesla is battery. So I've had a couple days with the car now. Um, when I was thinking about Tesla and electric cars in general and all the rest of it, here in San Francisco, I've never had a garage. So I always knew that that would be a problem because bizarrely, electric cars are great for cities, but in cities, you have like no opportunity to charge. Am I going to be able to go left here? Yuck, I really want to go up Market Street, but I don't think you can drive on Market Street anymore. Anyway, sorry, getting a little bogged down in some traffic details here. Crud. Do not enter. Why is no one in this lane? I feel like I'm lacking some information that everybody else has. So I knew that I wouldn't be able to charge on site, no matter where I live, unless I have a garage and I live in the city, and I'm probably never going to have a garage. I knew I would have to charge at charge stations. So I accepted that. I also knew one of the reasons I decided to buy the Model Y is it was rated for 314 miles, which is what, like, the biggest battery capacity for any like regular car for an average person would have. Like once it crossed over 250, I thought that's kind of the range at which it makes sense to buy an electric car, even though you have to deal with the lag of charging. So when it came out that the battery was advertised for, let me get through the intersection here. When the battery was advertised for 314 miles, I thought awesome. Now I also know, and that's EPA rating. I also know that the EPA ratings you need to take with a giant grain of salt because even in a regular gas car, you virtually never get the EPA rating. So no harm there. I looked online, what's the capacity of the battery? And I don't know that much about battery capacity or whatever, but I can do basic mathematics. Um, let's make sure I'm not in the wrong lane. So as far as I understand, battery capacity is like 75 kilowatts. That's essentially like saying your tank can hold 12 gallons of gas. Like, I'm not talking about the equivalent energy density of a gallon of gas in kilowatts. I'm just saying, like, that 75 number is about how big your gasoline tank is, whatever it happens to be. And then when it comes to batteries, kind of like your phone, like you buy a 256 gigabyte phone, you actually don't really have access to the 256 gigabytes. There's always like operating system on top of it or some reason you don't get the full capacity. So as far as I've seen online, you get maybe a 4% ding on capacity. So that would have me at like 72 kilowatts for the battery. What I think is interesting is I have found out in the last 48 hours of owning this car, well, 72 really now, is that if you're DC charging rather than AC charging at home, and you guys can look into like all the differences between that. Basically, it's like, as far as I understand it, shooting a lot of electricity in a straight line versus waves or something. I don't know. Comment down below, but I don't think the average consumer is going to care what that really means. There's just two types of charging, two types of electricity in this world, DC and AC, that we need to care about. As far as I understand, if you have an AC charger, which I guess is the typical charger people would have at home, you can charge the battery up to 100%. But if you do DC charging at a Tesla supercharger, it will typically, as far as I can tell, only allow you to charge the battery up to 80%. Presumably, that has something to do with cramming electricity in at a high rate on a DC charger and not like ramrodding the battery and degrading its performance and longevity or whatever. That's what I imagine. Again, put everything in the comments. I don't know. And the vast majority of people in the world are not going to know either, and they're also not going to care. So, surprisingly, because I don't have a garage, and because I don't have an at-home charger, and because that charger is certainly not AC, I'm using the DC superchargers. That means, somewhat surprisingly, I only have access to 80% of the battery. Now, that's not so bad because let's say the battery's rated for 316 miles, and then we reduce the 4%. I don't know, that brings us down to 306 or something. I'm driving down the road and I'm not going to do the math in my head perfectly. So, but let's say it's about 304 miles once we get rid of that 4%. Then if you take 20% off of that 300 some odd miles, that brings me down to like, what, 240 miles, 245 miles? That's a bit of a ding, I gotta say. Like, I'm a little surprised by that because I don't know, like 240 miles versus 304 or 316, that's a little surprising. So if you're thinking about getting a Tesla or probably any electric car that can do fast charging, beware if you are DC charging only that if you want to maintain your battery, as far as I understand the excuse to be or the justification, you are going to get a chunk removed from your battery capacity, which means how far can you go on a charge. So I guess I'm working with like 240 miles capacity. Not the end of the world. I mean, if you can drive 240 miles, you're still having a pretty good day. Question mark in my head is I actually intend in 2 weeks to get back on the road and do a whole bunch of driving across the country. And I know I can do it. I've seen things online if people can do it. But it's like, let's say I can go 240 miles. I'm going to have to charge this car and stop like every 3 hours. Which, if you're used to a regular gasoline car, when I had my Chevy Impala car rental, I don't know, that thing probably got 25 miles to the gallon and had a 12-gallon gas tank, so that's 250 plus another 300 miles. Yeah, that's pretty nice to be able to drive 300 miles and know that you can stop almost in any podunk town and get fuel. Very convenient. This electric charging thing, I know, and I knew buying the car was going to take extra time. I knew I would stop more. I knew it would take longer. So I'm fine with all of that. I also knew that when it comes to driving, just like a gas car, depending on how you drive, do you use your heater? Are you using your air conditioner? Are you totally lead-footed? Like, I think everyone pretty much knows those things with gas cars. Except in electric cars, it's like pretty much even worse because, every little electron you use for something that's not moving the car forward is then diverted to your air conditioner or your heater or whatever, and it just reduces your range. Like, I get all that. I'm not bothered by that. But the reality is that if you're driving, I was looking online for some stats and things like what are the things that detract from the range that or your efficiency in a car, whether it's gas or electric. It's what's your mix of highway, I'll try to use my numbers here. What's your mix of highway versus city driving? That's something like 25% is the variance of what kind of range you're going to get. Oh, I'm all illuminated in red, brake lights in front of me. Um, so that's 25% ding. If you go a lot on the freeway for an electric car, your efficiency is just lower. It's the opposite of a car. Number two, are you lead-footed or not? So it's driving style. And then number three, it's are you using the heater or I'm going to go right here. Hold on. Let's see. Let's make sure this little camera doesn't fly over. Again, it's not stable at all. Um, are you using the heater or the air conditioner? Oh, camera, let's focus on me. Bring it back. Let's see if I can go back in the range and have it focus on me. There we go. Come back, come back. I'll have it go just a little bit over here. So those three things could reduce the range of your battery like by 55%. So let's just say by half. So if you have a car that's rated at 305 miles, we'll just do 300. Sorry, Tesla, I'll just go a little lower. 300 miles once we take that 4% off the top. And then because I'm DC supercharging, I can only get 240 miles out of the car in a best case scenario. Oops, there's a bicyclist. Let's not hit him. And then the lanes are ending on the left. And I can only turn right. Oh my God, San Francisco, downtown. Like, I'm never going to get where I want to go. I'm going to be all over this city. And the camera is zooming totally in the wrong direction. Um, so I get that piece, but I could deal with that. But now I'm looking at, say, that 80% number down. That's going to be problematic because best case scenario, I'm going to get 240 miles out of this battery. And then if you layer on a cold day, which maybe would take 15% of my mileage out of the car, you know, that's another what, 30 miles out, 240 24, and then another half of that. It's going to be 36. Take 36 off of that. That gets me down to around like 205 miles range if I'm using the air conditioner or the heater. Um, and then if I'm not driving like a snail, then that's going to beat another 15% out of the battery. And, depending on my mix of highway and freeway, like I'm going to be doing a lot of highway driving. And I don't know, winter's coming up. So I'm kind of feeling, and I can manage to hypermile the way that I drive. I don't have to drive like a bat out of hell as much as I love it. Trust me. And I do love to punch the pedal on this car and just fly. So I'm looking at realistically like 180 miles for this car. That's a little surprising for a car that's advertised at 314 miles, to have a practical, usable battery range of 180 miles. And I got to drive over the Rockies. I still have to drive over the Sierra. I mean, I'm going to head out to the Midwest and I want to go through Jackson Hole, probably, you know, Yellowstone, and then up through Montana and through North Dakota, and then down, and I have a trip around the South planned, and then back to California, and then maybe out to Florida or whatever the deal is. I'm gonna have to cross the mountain. So if I'm maxing out at 170 or 180 miles on range, and then I have to hit a mountain because I'm only DC charging and I only have a reduced amount of rate and all the rest of it, like, I don't know. I have this feeling that either I'm going to be charging literally all the time, or uh, I'm not going to make it somewhere. Now, this is not range anxiety. Like, I know all this stuff. And I'll tell you, in my gas car, when I was driving through western Montana and Idaho, I went on some really rural roads. Like, I feel like I discovered the wildest part of the American West. I mean, like dirt roads, cliffs. I don't even know why Google Maps and Apple Maps told me to go down this road, but it was an adventure. But I thought, like, one wrong brake, if this car slides, I'm flying off a cliff and it's like all over for me. And the point of that story is there were no gas stations anywhere. So this range anxiety thing, yeah, I mean, most places in America and the world are not as rural and wild as the border zones between Montana and Idaho. I'll give you that. But having a gas car, there's no guarantee, especially if you're doing long distance driving, especially in the West, or say parts of the Middle East, or parts of North Africa, or parts of Central Asia, or parts of South America, parts of Africa, etc. There's no guarantee that you're going to have like gas stations just every single where, you know. So, um, but that 20% business, I kind of wish, lots of bouncing on the road here. I kind of wish Tesla would have mentioned something along those lines, and like, or maybe they do. Maybe I need to go back through their website and look, like, do they have a little cross and double asterisks that says like, here are all the technicalities about this 314 number not being anything near reality. You may actually only get about half, and that's even on a day where it's not snowing and you're not using the air conditioner. So that's something for me to think about. So as you come along this journey with me, over the next couple weeks and months, this issue is going to be forefront in my mind about am I going to make it to my destination or not? And if I don't, it's going to be my fault. If I'm trying to push the battery, I get that. So I won't do that. I will, in fact, stop everywhere the Tesla map tells me where to stop. But I think I'm going to have a serious hobby or something like, I don't know, bring a couple extra books with me so I can spend some time doing some reading I've neglected over the years because I'm definitely going to be spending like, I don't know, every 2 or 3 hours of driving, I'm going to be spending probably 40 hours, or 40 hours, 40 minutes, 30 to 40 minutes charging the car. And, you know, not my ideal, especially if I'm doing what in a gas car would be like a 12-hour day. That's going to add like an extra 3 hours minimum to my travel time. So definitely something to think about. Maybe I'll have to share my location with all of you guys so you can find out where has Daniel gone belly up in the world in his Tesla. At least I'll look good. And the only thing, if I run out of electricity, I don't think it's going to happen because I'm going to be conservative enough to make sure that doesn't happen. But if it did, the places I would run out of electricity probably also don't have cell phone connection. So I don't know how I'm going to reach anybody and be like, can I get more electricity? And I don't even know what you do. Like in a gas car, if you run out of electricity or you run out of gas, they just show up with, I don't know, a gas tank and they just fill up your car. Are there electric service companies now that come out with an extra battery and they just charge you up? There must be. Um, there are things like this that I kind of don't want to have to find out about. But who knows? Maybe I will. I mean, I was in Moab in summertime in my gas car rental and drove by a Tesla that was on the side of the road for a very long time. Either the guy died hiking and just left his car there, or it ran out of fuel and he had to make his way back to the town of Moab rather than in the national parks. That was Canyonlands. So who knows? Maybe we'll find out what it means for your electric car to run out of juice and to have to get a fill up from someone. Um, we'll find out. Anyways, put in the comments below all of your thoughts on this because I want to. I'm gonna make this electric car thing work. Like I love this car. I have to tell you, I really, really love it. It's beautiful, sounds great, looks great, feels great. It was built amazingly well. I don't know what happened, if I got lucky or what, but there's like zero manufacturing defects on this car. Knock on wood. Hope it stays that way. I just got to make this mileage range thing work out because of the amount of driving that I'm going to be doing over the next couple months. So we'll see. All right. Keep your eyes and ears open for dispatches from Daniel. And I'm going to make this turn here. I see some cars around me and traffic aware. And time to turn left. All right. Stay out of trouble. Made the turn. All right. Bye.